And now, this world shall know pain. Almighty push.
What's going on? DigiDustin, it's your boy TruePan Gaming back at it again with another Digimon video. Today I have the deck I finally broke the curse. I have gotten out of the top 10 bubble. And I didn't place below either. I got second place at the JoDobbi Dark Masters tournament, playing none other than Mega Zoo. My matchups were Red Omni, Blue Omni, Red Omni, Blue Omni. Those were the four matches I played. And this is the deck I played and ended up getting second. I only lost to Ice Barrier, who got first. So the whole thing was on Twitch, where I stream. So check out my Twitch, twitch.tv/TruePainGaming. Link in the description below. Also, guys, we're at about 180 subs right now, 20 away from me giving away one of each starter deck for the set 1. So yeah, and set 1.5 comes out Friday, so there'll be a bunch of Digimon content for that soon. So let's hop straight into the deck profile here with our eggs. We're playing for the low end. We're just playing 4 Upamon. Before, the Mega Zoo variant I was playing was using yellow cards. So this was Kupimon. But right before the tournament, I actually opted to switch for a blue low end, just to make some cards you'll see later more live. And it worked out great for me. So, 4 Upamon. Probably the best egg in the deck. Or in the game right now. So, on to our low end. We are only playing 7 cards for the low end that can Digivolve from the Upamon. Starting off, we play 4 Drabumon. This is the Gabumon that on play you draw a card. Again, more draw power. Another filter for early game. Something that I really liked to do with this deck is you can really bait your opponent into thinking you are either playing Rookie Rush or you're playing Blue Omni. Almost every game I played today, I played the game 1 as if I was playing Blue Omni. And then my opponent would prepare the next game as if I was going Blue Omni, and then I just start dropping all my Megas and I proceed to just smack face. So that is something really cool you can do with this deck. So yeah, the 4 Drabumon and then 3 Lekmon. This can be Gomamon too, doesn't really matter. I would cut 1 more Lekmon for 1 more Omnimon, but I only had 1 for this tournament that was available to use. So these were the rookie lineup. Pretty basic. They don't really matter though. It's just for the extra draws. Alright, on to some of our level 5s. So I don't play any level 4s in the deck. We just go straight into 5s. We play 3 Zudomon. So Zudomon's an MVP because on play you draw 2. But then you can Digivolve Plesio into this and swing for 12 while also gaining a memory usually. And then I like to Kaiser Nail him out to draw another 2 and then have another Plesio set up. So, 3 Zudomon. 4 of Zudomon's like counterpart, I'd say. Magna Angemon gives 1k for every card in security, for every 3 cards in security. And it's just recover 1. This one's really nice early game. Early game, I prefer to go for him over him, just to get your memory a little more stacked. Because a lot of our removal in this deck just comes from the memory. Well, I mean, the whole deck is focused around just manipulating your opponent's board and really making them have to play. You're giving them so much memory that you're forcing them to play their big out cards. But because everything in your deck pretty much requires your opponent to use a big out on it, very few decks can keep up the momentum with this deck. Because instead of attacking you, because you have these guys that'll just pretty much win you the game, they are forced to play their big out cards, essentially just passing turn. So he's there to give you more recovery, just in case, like, this deck is pretty much meant to just destroy Omnimon, and Blue Omnimon and Red Omnimon actually are the biggest counters. Well, this deck not specifically, but Mega Zoo in general, because those decks typically just have more outs than others. That's why I play this, to give us a little extra wiggle room and time. And then 2 of my tech, I don't know if I actually like this card, I didn't see it at all today, except for Insecurity. But 2 Skull Greymon to kill blockers. Every time this card would have helped one of my Megas was better. Whether it was Puppetmon or Machine Dramon, like, this card's good, but it's a card I could see me not playing in the future. Well, actually, spoiler alert, in the future we'll be playing 4 of this. But, that's it for the 5s. On to the 6s. And there's a lot of 6s. So, the majority of the deck is 6s. We'll start with our blue engine. So for blue, we have the 4 Plesia. This is our 12k beat stick. We use this because it's cheap, and you go into the JoDobbi and you swing over stuff. And then you can Kaiser Nail the JoDobbi out, and then Omni on top of this, and that's pretty PogChamp. Pretty GG easy. 1 Metal Seadramon. This is a card that I would actually bump up to 4. This card would be so much more handy. But I actually only had 1. I definitely thought I had more, but I think I sold them when I sold my Leopardmon deck, so I only had 1. I ordered more though, but honestly probably irrelevant. I'll probably play some form of Mega Zoo, probably a slightly different one in this weekend's Core TCG tournament since it is 1.0. I'll probably play the last Hoorah with this Mega Zoo deck. But yeah, so that's it for our blue. A little light on blue, honestly, but it's okay. 3 Magnadramon. Magnadramon's nice because you play it and you recover 1. I actually like to Digivolve on top of him too, because if it's early game and you don't really have that good of a hand, you play your Magna and your opponent will go to 7 or 6 or whatever, and then you can Digivolve him to him on your next turn to give your opponent 1 or 2. Because early game seeing this in your hand, that's pretty much your best option, because this card's not going to do anything early game, and then you can Kaiser Nail out the Magna to essentially do the same as this card would do. So that is cool. When Chaosmon comes out though, this card's going to be so good. Like, because you Chaosmon on top of this, and then if you're playing a blue-yellow variant, you can Kaiser Nail this out and recover 2. It's pretty nuts. So, yeah. Onto our reds. We play 4 Volcanic Dramon. This card just wins games against Rookie Rush. Rookie Rush is the hardest, in my opinion, is the hardest deck to play against for this deck, because you're always either giving your opponent max 10 or I've never given my opponent less than like 7 most of the time. And when you give Rookie Rush all this memory, they're just gonna do a whole board. And if you don't have a Volcanic to slap down, the good news is Rookie Rush can only go so far, because if they just play all their rookies when you give them a bunch, you slap a Volcanic and their hand's gone. They have no way to play really. So it is cool to bait Rookie Rush and then just drop this, but most people won't be that small-brained or smooth-brained, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, this deck's hardest opponent is Rookie Rush, and this card will almost always eat a Gaia Force because that security attack +1 is so strong in this deck. Next, to round off our reds, we are playing 2 Phoenixmon. This came up a few times. It's essentially the same thing as with Plesio, but the reason we run less of this is because we run less Skull Greymons than we run Zudomons, and also Skull Greymon is a lot more situational than Zudomon. So when we put this on top of a Skull Greymon, we're not always going to want to Kaiser Nail that Skull Greymon out because they might not have a blocker. And then if your opponent can get rid of Digivolution sources, you just kind of lose the Skull Greymon. So if you guys notice, this deck is very heavily revolving around Kaiser Nail and just pulling your 5s out to reuse them. And in some cases, pulling your Megas out too. I believe Kaiser. I didn't do it, but like there was a few times. Yeah. So against Rookie Rush, my plan was if I played a Rookie Rush, I would just play this to wipe their board, Omni on top of this, swing, but not use the Omni effect to bounce it, and rather Kaiser Nail it out for cheaper. So that's something you can do. And because he has the security attack +1, it's essentially like the same as an Omni. So onto our non-primary colored level 6s, we play 4 Machine Dramon. We play the 4 Machine Dramon because he's a blocker, but also the D-Digivolve 2 is very nice. This is another out to Omnimon. If you see your opponents starting to build their bridge up to an Omnimon, You just play this and you de-digivolve, set them back. Usually you'll give them enough memory to continue their chain. However, you've disrupted their ideal board state. And then also with the Machine Dramon, you can block to make it a lot more annoying for your opponent later. Machine Dramon is just probably going to be a staple for, as far as I can see, for Mega Zoo. Speaking of staples for Mega Zoo, Puppetmon. I feel bad to like 90% of my opponents today. This card put in so much damn work. Also, the second place prize was Alt-Art Puppetmons, so I might just play them in this deck. Essentially, you already know the thing. You play Puppetmon, your opponent essentially loses their turn if you do it right. But all day, I either had a Puppetmon to drop another one, or I either had a... I know against Ice Barrier. Ice Barrier, huge shout out to Ice Barrier, man. He played through something that would have made me rage quit. He had a full board. I dropped a puppet. He built some guys unrestricted. I dropped a puppet, and he built some guys, and then I dropped a puppet, and he still played through it, and actually got game through that. Blue is actually very strong. Blue has plays against the puppet because they can just hard drop the Garurumon to unsuspend their board, which is pretty nice and pretty helpful in this matchup. But some Red Omni just has like no out to Puppetmon. They just kind of have to lose their turn. On to the options. We play 4 of the best... Oh wait, before the options, I forgot. We play 1 Omnimon. I'd play 2, but I only had 1. So I saw this card almost every opening hand just because I'm toxic or something. So I was able to really bait out that I was playing Blue Omni and then just didn't play Blue Omni. Alright, on to the real bread and butter of the deck. 4 Kaiser now. This card is so good for this deck. 4 cost to essentially play a level 5 or 6 is so nutty. Especially when those 5 or 6s have really strong and powerful on-play effects. Hitting a Kaiser Nail in security too also wins games, because if you have like Please You on board with the Zudo underneath, you Kaiser Nail it out, or if you have a Magna Dramon with a Magna Angemon under it, you Kaiser Nail it out. And then if this was in security check for that, you would get to recover 1, and it's nuts, man. This card actually synergizes with this deck so well. Personally, a lot of people rave about Kaiser Nail. I haven't found any crazy uses for it, but Mega Zoo I think can really utilize this card. For Gaia Force, honestly, I would cut this card. I will probably cut this in the build that I play for core. Because there's so many times I see this in hand and we just don't play a big enough red engine to utilize this. I would either cut this for Hammer Sparks, not to gain security. It doesn't really come up often when you want to gain security. But Kakai's Breath is actually a pretty solid option, because just removing blockers, or like any pesky like card, bouncing it back to hand is pretty strong. But yeah, so Gaia Force not that good. I played it just because it's probably the best option in the game, but every time it was in my hand I didn't have a red on board to use it, so... And even if I did, there's better removal cards in this deck. Like, honestly, I'd rather just play a Machine Dramon or a Puppetmon rather than this card. So, and then to round off the deck, we do play 3 TK. This is the starter deck TK. It gives 2k DP to the cards in your security. So what this does is this just ensures when your opponent swings at your security, they will lose cards, and that is a very strong source of removal. So yeah, that's why we play the 3 TK, just to make sure that we're hitting those numbers with our security checks. So that is it for the deck profile, guys. We finally broke the curse. I got 2nd place. Huge shout out to JoDobbi for hosting this tournament. And yeah, so don't forget to check out my Twitch, link in the description below. Click that like button and smash that subscribe button, because we will be giving away those starter decks soon. See ya.